Hi Year 10. So this is just going to be a really short, simple video to help you. If you're feeling a bit overwhelmed with the planning of the letter and you're not quite sure to start, then just follow my lead, take my ideas, and that will get you into it. So the first thing I need to do is decide which bit of this statement I'm going to talk about. So it's not just about the grade you achieve, it's about creating well-rounded, confident, empathetic individuals. So I'm going to choose well-rounded. I'm going to choose that because I think that gives me the most to talk about, and I'm just going to quickly brainstorm. I think that would be about being physically fit, so taking part in sports or clubs that help with fitness. And I think well-rounded would also be about having a range of different skills, not necessarily all academic, so maybe some practical skills. So I'm just brainstorming my ideas. And I also think being well-rounded is about having a bit of kind of knowledge of the world and not being too focused on your books and kind of understanding how the real world works. So I'm going to put down there knowledge of the world. So I've chosen what bit of the statement I want to focus on, and I've got my ideas there. You might have some of these ideas from the previous lesson, but if you didn't, there's 3 that you can choose. So the structure in the PowerPoint starts out with saying a description of the problem and what you want. So this, I'm going to change that to 0 because this on the PowerPoint is number 1, so I'm going to keep it nice and clear and make this number 1 as well. So a description of the problem and what you want. So the statement kind of helps you out with this. It says that there is too much focus on the grade you achieve. So I'm going to subheading this problem, and I'm going to say there is focus on grades. I'm going to use that word from the statement, and I'm just going to put that into my own words a little bit. I'm going to say that there's quite a lot of pressure in schools. I know that as well as you do from being involved in it. There's a lot of pressure to achieve, and you might think you could put targets in there. You might think, I know what it's like to have a really high target, and that is a lot of pressure on me emotionally. So see, I'm just doing it like notes here. Pressure to achieve, targets, and I'm going to say that might make you feel quite emotional, quite stressed out, so that then leads to stress. So this is the problem. There's too much focus on the grades, that creates pressure, that can come from targets, and that is going to make you emotional and stressed out. And what you want to achieve, so I'm going to break this down, it's still part of number 1. What do I want to achieve? Again, the statement helps me out with this because I've decided that I want to say that what we want is well-rounded individuals. So I'm just going to put that down there. What do I want? Well, I want people to be well-rounded. And I've already said up here what that means, so I'm not going to write it down there. But that's what the problem is as I see it, and that's what I think we want to achieve. So I'm going to go straight to number 2 now. And number 2 is an anecdote, a personal story that will ideally emotionally impact the reader. So I'm just going to give that a little subheading there, anecdote. Now, the anecdote is going to be dependent on who you're writing as, and to be honest, I think for this it's easiest to write as a student because you've got first-hand experience of what the education system is like today, and chances are you've already got your own opinions. You spend so much of your time in school, although not now obviously, you talk to your friends about it, it dominates your life, you're going to have some kind of opinion on education. So I would write as a student, and the personal story that is going to impact the reader, I'm going to imagine that I'm somebody that is quite hardworking, and I'm going to say that I don't always do that well. I try my best, but I don't always do that well, and I'm going to imagine that I get an essay back and it's not the grade that is my target, and I'm just going to imagine the emotional pressure that I feel. So I'm going to put this in note form. I'm a student, I'm hardworking, I get an essay back, and I'm going to say it is 2 grades below. I'm maybe going to imagine that I have to have a conversation with my parents about that. Maybe my teacher is quite disappointed. And that leaves me, I'm going to make it really emotional. That leaves me crying. Maybe you're crying to your friends, or maybe you're crying when you go home. You just can't deal with the stress of having this target. And that's going to be my anecdote. Okay? Number 3 on the PowerPoint is research and statistics. So I'm going to put stats there as my subheading. Now, remember, you just make these up. And given that my focus is on, at this point, I'm saying about people being really stressed out, and the problem is that people are feeling under pressure and feeling anxiety, I'm going to make up a statistic about mental health. You might want to go online and find one out that's real, but you can just make it up. I'm going to say, and I'm going to make this quite a high statistic because mental health is a big problem and affects a lot of people. I'm going to say 4 in 5 pupils in year 10, make it really relevant to you, have admitted, I'm just going to put the wording down here, have admitted to feeling anxiety and stress. We're just going to keep it nice and simple there, and that's it. In that paragraph, I then say how, what my feeling is about this. This is clearly quite shocking because it's a very high statistic, high number. It's shocking. I'm going to get quite angry and say something needs to be done. I'm going to keep it simple. That's my statistic. You could add in one with a percentage, or you could do one that has a quote, but that's what I'm going to do. Then number 4 is the imagine if paragraph. And if you listened to the audio on the PowerPoint for this lesson, you will have heard me say that this is where you get to really describe like your ideal world. So this is where you take this anecdote and you think, okay, that is not what I want. I don't want people crying at home about how they're doing in school. So a really positive, and I've used a banned word there, a really life-affirming and kind of cheerful view of school, I suppose, would be that you came home and rather than crying, you were so enthusiastic about something you'd done that day. And remember, I want to say that people should be well-rounded. So I want to say, imagine if you came home from school and you were full of endorphins. You'd done sport, or you'd done dance, or something that really made you happy. And you were enthusiastic about talking to your parents about that, you were really cheerful about it, you were messaging your friends about it. And I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm just going to say that because that offers a nice contrast. Excuse me, because they're both about coming home from school, but my anecdote's about crying, and this one's going to be about being really enthused and happy. So imagine if you come home from school and you are really, really happy. You're full of energy, you're not exhausted. You are full of endorphins because you have danced or you've done sport, and in your ideal world that is a priority, so you're given the opportunity to really focus on that, and you are really enthusiastic about talking to your parents about it. So that's my imagine if. And then I'm going to end with reminding the reader what you want to happen. So this is your solutions. Excuse me. So here you just need to kind of really bring it to like quite a practical ending, because remember, you're writing to someone and you're saying, this is the issue, this is how people feel, this is what I want to happen, but what actual steps do you want someone to take? So I'm going to pluck something out of the air here, you could change it, but I'm going to say that I want the timetables in school to change. And at the minute, you'll know that your timetables are dominated by English. You have the joy of seeing me 4 times a week, maths, science, etc. So you could say, I want the timetables to change, and I want them to focus on social subjects, like PE, dance, well-being lessons, etc. And you're going to say that that is your solution. That is your solution to the problem. And the problem is there's too much focus on grades. And you're going to say this practical step, I'm just going to put the word practical here. This practical step that you could take would be to change the timetables, and that is going to create the wonderful imaginative existence. So year 10, if you are stuck and you're just finding it all a bit overwhelming, just take these ideas, do them in this order, and then flesh out with your own wording and your own golden sentences and things. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Good luck.